Hello and thanks for joining us on News on NTA International. I am Comfort Fashion and my sign language interpreter is National Economic Council promises to give priority to welfare of citizens. Brazilian legislators press for inclusion of convicted former President Bolsonaro in amnesty bill. Plus, U.S. President Donald Trump concludes a historic second state visit to Britain. Thank you for joining us. My interpreter's name is Anna Olainka. The National Economic Council is finalizing arrangements to ensure implementation of the Anticipatory Action Framework intended to protect vulnerable households and enable timely and dignified interventions for the riverine areas in Nigeria. This is one of the major outcomes of the Council's meeting this Thursday at the State House. A State House correspondent, Musbao Danwahab, reports that the Council is also working out plans to encourage local production of small farm implements.
The 152nd meeting of the National Economic Council is certainly not one of the most attended, yet the discussions and resolutions are far-reaching under the chairmanship of Vice President Kashim Shettima. The rains are winding down for the year and the flooding about to peak. Fears are imminent again for Nigerians in the riverine areas and those along the riverbanks. The perennial challenge got attention of the Council as it received a briefing from the National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu, on the Anticipatory Action Framework, mainly to protect the vulnerable households across the country.
The objectives of the Anticipatory Action Framework include, but not limited to, protect vulnerable households, enable timely and dignified interventions before flooding peaks, focus on equity, ensuring no community is left behind, amongst others. However, Council resolved that the scope of the framework has to be widened in order to include more states and submit final document for ratification at the next meeting of NEC. Most importantly, Council has also considered the inclusion of measures that will be taken to ensure medium and longer term sustainable solutions that will prevent flooding or reduce the flooding rather than the shorter term non-sustainable solution.
Jigawa State Governor Umar Namadi presented a memo seeking federal state action towards addressing the challenge of cost of production aggravated by lack of access to affordable energy and fertilizer, particularly for smallholder farmers.
Meaning that opening the door, bringing in more players into the production of fertilizer, and through either giving incentives or so many. So the framework will come up, and that will show that by the time, it's a concept of demand and supply. The more players are in, it becomes more competitive. And therefore, the likelihood of dropping the price of fertilizer is likely to happen. So that's exactly the concept we are asking for the mandate to be given to the Presidential Food Implementation Committee.
The Council moved a step up for solution as the Vice President led members to inspect samples of battery-backed solar power irrigation pumps proudly made in Nigeria by the National Agency for Science and Engineering Infrastructure, NASENI.
These pumps, they are supposed to replace fuel-driven, petrol-powered systems and lower energy costs for farmers, improve irrigation access in off-grid areas, reinforce Nigeria's food security strategy.
So compatible, it's not as good as these other ones.
NASENI assures the Council of its capacity to produce about 100,000 pumps of this type monthly. And so the Council resolved to notify the President on this towards working out more funding for the agency and supports local production of the implements. From the State House, Musbah and Wahab, NTA News.
The Kingdom of the Netherlands says it will strengthen bilateral relationships with Nigeria and support the country in food security projects and initiatives. The Dutch ambassador to Nigeria, Ben van Loosdrecht, says his country is currently supporting Nigeria in vegetable production in the value chain. Musa Babaliu has the details.
In 2021, Nigeria and the Netherlands reached an agreement with the Dutch government supporting Nigeria to address post-harvest losses in vegetable farming. The 5-year project focuses on increasing farmers' incomes, promoting sustainable farming, enhancing greenhouse technologies, and fostering stronger market linkages for 60,000 smallholder farmers. So far, approximately 70,000 farmers in Kano, Kaduna, Ogun and Oyo states have benefited. The national coordinator of the project stated that the initiative has achieved its objectives in increasing Nigerian vegetable production.
Farmers were getting very low yield. We worked on that. Now farmers are able to get over 20 metric tons per hectare of tomato. Before, based on our baseline, it was between 7 and 10. Another major challenge was that we address is the post-harvest losses. We all know, especially tomato, it can be as high as 50-60% of loss.
The Dutch ambassador to Nigeria noted that the support did not only mobilize private capital, but also involves technology transfer and technical expertise in areas such as climate control and seed technology, as well as policy advocacy to support more resilient and inclusive horticulture value chain.
We have established over 100 business-to-business partnerships across all the 4 states, which we believe that is going to continue even after outside Nigeria.
The Minister of Agriculture and Food Security commended the Dutch government for its support and appealed for a second phase of the project to cover additional states. Beneficiaries of the project, especially the youth, are in high spirit, believing that their contributions will enhance national food production. Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
President Donald Trump was treated to royal state banquet in Windsor Castle Wednesday, rounding off the U.S. president's first full day of a historic second state visit to Britain. Details with Frama Panye.
Before about 160 guests at the start of the lavish event, designed to play into the American leader's love of pomp and pageantry, King Charles III praised what he called Trump's personal commitment to seeking peace. On his part, President Trump described the visit as one of the highest honors of his life, paying tribute to the transatlantic relationship by calling the UK and the United States 2 notes in one chord, each beautiful on its own, but really meant to be played together.
The bond of kinship and identity between America and the United Kingdom is priceless and eternal. It's irreplaceable and unbreakable, and we are, as a country, as you know, doing unbelievably well. We had a very sick country 1 year ago, and today, I believe we're the hottest country anywhere in the world. In fact, nobody's even questioning it, but we owe so much of that to you.
This unique and important occasion reflects the enduring bond between our 2 great nations, anchored by the deep friendship between our people. This relationship, which, with good reason, we and our predecessors have long called special, has made us safer and stronger through the generations.
Trump is the first U.S. president to receive 2 state visits after his previous one with Queen Elizabeth II in 2019. After the royal hospitality and pageantry, U.S. President Donald Trump's unprecedented second state visit to the UK takes a serious turn as he is hosted by Prime Minister Keir Starmer for wide-ranging talks. Starmer received Trump on the second day of the visit at his country residence with pressing issues such as trade, Ukraine and Gaza on the agenda. The Prime Minister has positioned himself as a bridge between the unpredictable US leader and European allies, particularly on the war in Ukraine, in a bid to secure more commitments for Kyiv from Trump. The two leaders formally signed a tech partnership to strengthen cooperation in artificial intelligence, quantum computing, and nuclear energy. Trump's visit has delivered pledges from mostly U.S. tech giants and financial groups to invest in a combined 150 billion euros in Britain over several years. Frama Pani, NTA News.
Brazil's Chamber of Deputies approved on an emergency motion to process an amnesty bill that could cover former President Jair Bolsonaro, sentenced last week to 27 years in prison for attempting a coup d'etat. Framapanye reports that the bill aims to pardon Bolsonaro, who was convicted of the January 8, 2023 for assaults in Brasilia, has been the priority of Bolsonaro's party in this legislature.
Brazil's former president, Jair Bolsonaro, convicted last week of leading an attempted coup, has been diagnosed with skin cancer, his doctor said. The announcement came as the far-right leader was discharged from a hospital in the capital, Brasilia, where he was rushed by prison guards after suffering violent bouts of hiccups, vomiting, and low blood pressure. Bolsonaro has had multiple health issues and operations in recent years due to complications following a 2018 stabbing in his abdomen while campaigning for president. Brazilian legislators are also pressing for Bolsonaro to be included in an amnesty bill that will benefit those who participated in the uprising, but the bill faces an uphill battle for legislative approval and could be subject to a presidential veto. The former president, still popular with his supporters, has been under house arrest since August at his residence in Brasilia. Bolsonaro and 7 co-accused were found guilty of plotting to prevent Lula from taking office, a scheme that included the assassination of Lula, his vice president Geraldo Alckmin, and a Supreme Court judge. The former army captain, who served a single term from 2019 to 2022, has long claimed he is a victim of political persecution. Frama Pani.
The Minister of Defense, Muhammad Badaru Abubakar, is attending the 12th Beijing Xiangshong Forum, where he is expected to engage with his counterparts from other countries, explore avenues for defense cooperation, share Nigeria's perspective on regional and international security. With a theme upholding international order and promoting peaceful development, Nigeria's participation underlines its commitment to multilateral engagement on defense and security issues, particularly in the era of evolving global threats. The forum, which is jointly hosted by the China Association for Military Science and the China Institute for International Strategic Studies, has become a crucial avenue for fostering trust, dialogue, and practical cooperation among defense policymakers and military experts worldwide. The imperative of maximizing the flourishing relationships that exist between China and African countries for the overall growth and development of the continent has again been advocated. Chukwunanso Nwabweze reports that this was the position of scholars at a one-day seminar on Global Governance Initiative, GGI, in Abuja.
Convened by the Center for Contemporary China-Africa Research and the Center for China Studies, this seminar is a convergence of international affairs experts who are here to explore paths and methods to improve global governance through the joint efforts of our countries and multilateral mechanisms in entrenching international rule of law as proposed by the Global Governance Initiative.
China has been and is always willing to cooperate, work with African friends, including Nigeria, under the framework of GGI to build a more just and equitable global governance system.
Nobody should dictate on no one. Let there be international rule of law that defines the rules that each and every state has to actually abide by.
We define who owns that international rule of law, who set it up, and why, and for whose benefit. So that may be the weakness of the GGI to graft on existing almost illegal. International rule of law.
With the theme Opportunities for China-Africa Cooperation under the Global Governance Initiative, GGI, the seminar featured paper presentations on the need to position Nigeria as a future global player, opportunities under GGI, Africa's strategic role in shaping future global governance under GGI, as well as the principles of the GGI, foundations for an equitable global order. Chukunonsonwa Bweze, NTA News.
All right, let's take a pause for more messages. We'll be back shortly. The Minister of Interior says the days of long waits and passport backlogs are numbered. He gave the assurance while inspecting the Data Personalization Center at the Nigeria Immigration Service headquarters in Abuja. Victor Azu reports.
At the core of passport production is the Data Personalization Center, where biometric data is processed and security features are stamped in. For Minister Olubunmi Tunjioju, seeing the process up close was necessary to make sure reforms deliver real results.
We now have a system here that will bring an end forever to the era of backlog, because production can be done at record time.
The minister says the new center will cut delays and restore public confidence in Nigeria's passport system. He insists technology and oversight must go together to deliver faster, smarter service to Nigerians at home and abroad.
We're doing about 250, 300 per machine per day. Today, the system that you've seen does about 1,000 per hour. Within 4 or 5 hours of working, NIS can provide solutions to the demand of Nigerians.
With reforms picking up pace, the old bottlenecks of passport application may soon give way to efficiency, transparency, and trust. In Abuja, Victor Azu, NTA News.
Nigeria's First Lady, Oluremi Tinubu, has flagged off the distribution of food and cash support in Sokoto under the Renewed Hope Initiative, RHI, aimed at cushioning the hardship of vulnerable households. Represented by the wife of the Vice President, Nana Kashim Shettima, the First Lady revealed that more empowerment programs are underway, including Flourish Confidence, a scheme designed to retain in school 370,000 schoolgirls across the country. Abdullahi Umar Ilalu reports.
Each beneficiary received 2 bags of 25-kilogram rice and maize, along with 10,000 naira as transport support. The food outreach scheme is designed to assist vulnerable groups, particularly persons with special needs. The First Lady and Chairperson of the Renewed Hope Initiative, Oluremi Tinubu, represented, expresses appreciation for the federal government's support under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu towards improving citizens' welfare. 17 states have so far benefited from similar initiative, with Bayelsa, Borno, and Yobe as the next targets.
Our goal at the Renewed Hope Initiative is to complement the Renewed Hope agenda of the administration of His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, which aims to support all Nigerians to strive and achieve their goals irrespective of their condition or status.
Governor Ahmed Aliyu, represented, described the intervention as timely.
We have rolled out several palliative support measures for vulnerable groups.
The gesture is a testament to the First Lady's commitment towards uplifting the quality of lives of indigents in the country.
Sokoto State has been a proud beneficiary of several interventions offered by the First Lady under the Renewed Hope Initiative.
Sultan of Sokoto, Muhammad Saada Abubakar, represented, and the Mudassiru Rabiu Africa Initiative commended the First Lady's foresight and urged beneficiaries to put the support to good use. In Sokoto, Abdullah Omar Ilalu, NTA News.
Nigeria is stepping up efforts to make its road safer as the Nigerian Building and Road Research Institute pledges stronger collaboration with the Federal Road Safety Corps, FRSC, to cut road crash fatalities by 50% before the end of the decade. Justin Bemui reports.
It is a bold move to turn tragedy into transformation.
At a courtesy visit to the FRSC headquarters in Abuja, the Nigerian Building and Road Research Institute (NIBRI's) governing board chairman, Mesoko Durosimi, set a national target: cut road traffic deaths by half before 2030. Durosimi described the partnership as more than a handshake. It is a commitment to smarter roads, safer vehicles, and faster response when accidents occur. He highlighted NIBRI's role in shaping the Nigerian Road Safety Strategy 2021 to 2030 and pioneering the National Crash Reporting Information System (NACRIS), a tool to track, analyze, and prevent accidents through real-time data.
Currently, NIBRI and the FRSC are collaborating on a national route analysis with a view to generating a comprehensive traffic data bank for the country.
The partnership will also deliver a national route analysis, a first-of-its-kind traffic data bank to build smarter infrastructure decisions and reduce highway hazards.
We always regard FRC, or rather road safety, as an agenda. It's a holistic and collective responsibility that everyone, every global person, every citizen in the world is supposed to key in to see how we can reduce this carnage, the road traffic crash.
The renewed partnership, anchored on the UN Decade of Action pillars, signals a future where safer vehicles, safer roads, and improved post-crash care could drastically reduce the nation's highway tragedies, a major boost to national economic growth and public safety. Justin Bemunyi, NTA News.
To strengthen effective reporting on climate change, particularly in relations to adaptation and legislations, selected environment reporters in Nigeria have undergone training organized by the Global Initiative for Food Security and Ecosystems Preservation. Charles Alpha reports.
The long-term changes in temperature, rainfall, wind patterns and other elements of the Earth climate system, mainly driven by human activities such as fossil fuel burning and deforestation, are what scientists describe as the causes of climate change. Because of the technical terms and language involved, reporters need a solid understanding of these issues to be able to report accurately, simply, and in a way that brings everyone on board in the global fight to reduce the impact. This is why the Global Initiative for Food Security and Ecosystem Preservation, GSEP, in partnership with Shift Africa, is building the capacity of environment reporters to do their work more effectively. Participants were taken through the science of climate change, adaptation strategies, the sources and impacts of greenhouse gases, and how climate change affects water, health, and the world food system.
This is further helping journalists to understand the science of climate change and climate adaptation in particular, so that they are able to communicate this to Nigerians and to everyone to understand, especially considering the impact and the importance of climate change.
There was also focus on the draft Environmental, Social and Health Impact Assessment Bill 2024, the economic costs of climate impacts on Africa, and the urgent need to close the continent's adaptation finance gap, with a call for grants rather than loans to African countries.
We need at least an average of $53 billion annually on the continent, so that our governments can invest in infrastructure, invest in food sovereignty and not just food security.
The training was not just about improving reporters' writing and reporting skills. It also highlighted how climate journalists can amplify solutions, avoid sensationalism, and counter climate misinformation. Charles Alpha, NTA News.
River State House of Assembly has resumed sitting after 6 months of emergency rule. Speaker Martin Amaewule presided over the sitting where the House called on Governor Fubara to commence the process of coming up with an appropriation law for the remaining parts of the year to address current realities. Nkiru has the details.
Lawmakers are elected to be back. Speaker Martin Amaewule soon walks in and plenary begins. There's only one item on the other paper, a motion moved by the House Leader, Major Jack.
Mr. Speaker, you should also be aware that Rivers State Executive Council needs to be fully constituted.
Other lawmakers lend their voice, calling on Governor Fubara to send the list of commissioner designates for screening and confirmation.
To commend the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria for restoring democratic institutions in the state.
The Speaker summarized the plenary with a request to Governor Fubara to send the budget to the Assembly for the rest of the year.
The Rivers State House of Assembly will continue to abide by the terms of the peace pact between us, the governor, and all stakeholders for the interest of this state and of course for the good governance of their states.
All eyes are on the Assembly to fully resume amicable relationship with the executive for the state to move forward. In Port Harcourt, Nkiru Onyejisi, NTA News.
President Bola Tinubu has expressed deep condolences to the families of victims, the Federal Inland Revenue Service, FIRS, and United Bank of Africa, UBA, following a tragic fire at Afriland building on Broad Street, Lagos Island on Tuesday. In a statement issued by the Special Advisor on Information and Strategy, Bayo Ononuga, the President extended heartfelt sympathies to Afriland Properties Limited, FIRS, UBA, and especially those who lost loved ones or were injured in the blaze. Also, the federal government has expressed deep sadness on the tragic fire incident at the Afriland Tower in Lagos, which claimed the lives of some senior officials at the Federal Inland Revenue Service and the United Capital PLC, while leaving scores injured. Similarly, the First Lady Oluremi Tinubu condoles with the Governor of Lagos State, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, and the people of the state and corporate organizations affected by the tragic fire outbreak at Afriland Towers on Broad Street, which claimed 10 lives. In her condolence message, the First Lady also extends special commiseration to the Federal Inland Revenue Service and United Bank for Africa over the incident. And that's the news. Thanks for joining us. I am Comfort Fashion. My sign language interpreter is Hannah Olainka.